Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just hanging out on Saturday and thought I would do a video for my buddy on stocktwits to and through. He's been looking at a company, and a lot of people have actually. I've seen the name pop up a while and thought I'd do a short video on what I would do if I had heard a name from somebody and wanted to research it and decide to invest. Um, so the first thing I would do is just pull up a chart and put it on the daily. And we've done this in another video, and just zoom out and kind of see any interesting spikes, dips, and things like that that would we could look for PRs to go through. Because remember, you don't want to only use a chart, you don't want to only use PRs, you don't want to only use indicators. You want to use everything that you have. So let's pull it up here. I'm going to get out my vertical tool. And what I'm going to do is just kind of zoom in and see if there's any interesting spots. And immediately right here, that's pretty interesting, right? And I've cheated a little bit because I've been looking at the chart and I pulled up their website. So I know where a couple of spots are, but I'll show you how you can get like false things that you won't find a filing for as well, or something like that. And then we have a nice big peak here. This is just kind of looks like general trading. We got a little dip here. Let's see. We have kind of a dip there, but that looks like it's just kind of failed to support and wanted to retest a little bit. So I don't know if there'd be a PR or something there. It's not as interesting to me as this one. But I want to go ahead and click it just in case. And yeah, I mean, that's probably as far back as we need to go just for our purposes, because we're going to be trading it now if we do. And I personally do more of a swing trading, so I like to hold it, a couple weeks, something like that. And some I'm in longer term, some not by choice sometimes, but generally 1 to 3 weeks, maybe a month and a half is what I would like to hold something for. That's everybody has their own style. Everybody trades differently. Some people like to be in and out, scalp it in a day, hours, minutes. Some people, I have to hold things for a year. I want my tax break, things like that. So I pulled up their website and we clicked through, and let me show that to you guys. And let's see if we can find, something that shows where our date is. So we put something on July 10th. So if we go through, let's see if we can find something around July 10th that would indicate a spike there. Let's see, let's go back to the first page. Okay, there we are, right on July 10th. Updates the status of immuno-oncology program. So I can almost guarantee that's good news because we got a huge spike on the chart. Let's go ahead and click on that. So Hemispherx Biopharma announced that 12 pancreatic patients are currently undergoing treatment with single-agent Ampligen immuno-oncology therapy in an early access program managed by Amsterdam-based My Tomorrows, an international leader in providing physician access to experimental medicines. Okay, so there we go. A study has started and they announced that it's going on. We'll just read a little bit more. So 8 of the 12 patients entered the EAP with metastatic disease and have been on the drug for 12 weeks or longer. And the 4 other patients entered the program in the last several weeks with earlier stage disease. It is being conducted at the Erasmus Medical Center in Rotterdam under the supervision of leader clinician Dutch oncologist. Okay, Ampligen. Okay, and then they go on to talk about it. So since I haven't looked at them before, I would keep reading, So Ampligen has been shown in numerous earlier studies to possess both tumor killing and immunomodulating activity, the two characteristics that form the basis of immuno-oncology therapy. This is developing into one of the fastest growing and promising forms of cancer treatment. Okay, so they have this oncologist. Oh, that's the CEO. Okay, so the CEO obviously likes what they're doing. But I did read a little bit about their medicine, and basically, from what it sounds like, is it creates a barrier around the tumor with, and allows certain things to go through and some not, and it uses your own body's like immunology to attack the cancer cells. If I'm not mistaken, I'd have to reread it again. There was a lot of medical jargon, of course, in there. But it sounded pretty cool. Is like using your own body to fight the cancer in a way. But let's take this out of the way. So July 10th looked good, and we got a spike there. So new study, that's pretty recent. That's our most recent spike. It has been going down since then, but that's to be expected sometimes. But we'll see why. Because I mean, you have anticipation up to news as well. So let's see. Let's see what happened if something happened February 2nd. So we just go back here, go to our next page. Okay, so they did a direct offering for 1 million. Okay, so they gave somebody shares, I'm guessing. Announced today that it has entered into definitive agreements with several institutional investors for an offering of shares of common stock with gross proceeds of approximately 1 million in a registered direct offering. So yeah, there we go. So February 6th, 2017. In connection with the offering, the company will issue registered shares of common stock at a purchase price of 55 cents a share. Concurrently, in a private placement for each share of common stock purchased by an investor, such investor will receive from the company an unregistered warrant to purchase 75 cents of a share of common stock. The warrants have an exercise price of 75 cents a share, will be exercisable 6 months after issuance, and will expire 5 years from the initial exercise date. Okay, so basically it's giving these investors the ability to get these shares. All right, so that makes sense that it would go down. Let's see here. And then so also in November of 2016, we have so they had their quarterly updates in November. And so the reason, and let's go back to the chart, and we were looking at November right here. The reason it would go down with their financials is obviously their research and development. So they're going to have to pay for clinical trials. They're going to have to fund them. And so they're not going to be getting a lot of money until their stuff's actually in use. You know what I mean? They have to build things out and pay hospitals and, you know, basically do a lot of stuff on their own until they're approved and can get returns on it. And then now we have August 24th, 2016. So let's go back to our window. I think it's another page back. Yeah, let's see. Yes, August. 1 for 12 reverse stock split. And if you remember, that's what we talked about within the DCTH, and that's what they're voting on right now. Because a reverse stock split basically it's going to take those 12 shares and turn it into 1 share. And so that's going to reduce their total amount of shares, which you can see here, 248 million shares down to approximately 20 million shares. So it's going to be less liquid, less stocks are going to be in the float, but that should allow for more price movement with less purchasing action. And, you know, let's see. So that's just a lot less shares. But the people that had their shares now at that time were getting their shares basically shrunken down as well. So if you're a small buyer and you don't have a lot of shares, you're going to lose a lot to fractional loss because they're going to round it not in your favor because it's obviously not going to evenly divide perfectly, you know, by 12. There's going to be fractional shares left over, and those generally get lost for your smaller investors. So it seems that's already happened. So if you're purchasing now or soon, you're not going to have to worry about that. The only thing you need to worry about is the new study we found out. And if they're not going to do a reverse split soon, I would imagine, because they just did one back in August of last year. And there's less shares to buy, less float. And let's see. So I read earlier as well some in their financials. I'll see if I can pull it up. I forgot which page it was. But their financials actually were starting to turn around. Let's see here. Yes, here we go. So they had an increase in revenues just recently. This was August 15th of this year. So remember, reverse split last year. This is this year. The increase in revenues of 198 grand is a 1,320% increase. So they have a huge increase percentage-wise there. And then they also had an increase of 450% there. And while it's not a lot dollar-wise, you have to imagine if they've been operating at a loss for so long, it looks like it's probably starting to turn around. We read the PR about the new study that they're doing in Rotterdam. And now we also have their financials turning around as well. So if we go back to the chart, now that was just August 15th, right? So if we go there, we just now got that news, and we just got the news about the new study. So it's going to take a while, though, for those to reflect in the stock price because of all the negative news that we also had. And I think it was honestly probably still stabilizing from this back here. I think that reverse split, it was still dealing with it in a way. And then with that negative news also back in February. So, but now it seems to be stabilizing. It had a peak there, build up from that. There's our good news here. So this is when I would decide to start charting it, because I'm actually still, personally, I think it's still interesting. I like the medicine that I read out. I didn't read it for you guys because it's really long and full of a lot of medical jargon, but I really liked their idea of how they were attacking the cancer cells. I thought it was pretty interesting. But I would need to chart it and decide, do I want to try to time it and jump in a certain time, or do I believe in it long enough to hold it long term? And this seems like one I would want to hold long term if I was going to buy it. But if I was to buy it soon, I would probably want it to stay above where this dip was here. If I was looking to hold this like maybe just a few weeks or something, I would really want it to see it build support. And let's pull out our horizontal tool. Yeah, so it's been about 3 weeks. Zoom in here. It's been about 3 weeks since it had this huge dip, which is a good sign. And as long as it holds support above here, I would feel safe. I would like to see it maybe go another week before I would personally jump in. Doesn't mean it's a bad time now, but I would personally wait to see if it holds this support a little longer. Volume seems pretty steady. Of course, that day back then alters that because of that great PR. But since then, volume seems pretty steady. It's not super high. It doesn't seem like it's very well known. But it's not losing buyers. People aren't jumping out of it. But yeah, I don't know. I'd probably do some more stuff. I don't want to drag on too long and bore you guys, but let me just do one. I just want to see yeah, let me just see just a quick, if I can get a little trend here. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it really needs to hold this zone. Yeah, I would really like to wait. Personally, I would wait probably one more week just to make sure it holds above this line and see if it can maybe get back into some sort of positive trend, because it doesn't really have a positive trend right now. But it isn't, yeah, that's probably a better look at it. Yeah, if it can stay above this right here, this 30, if it can stay above this 30 and possibly build a new trend over here, maybe in late September, that would look really good in my eyes, because they've already, like I said, they've already done the reverse split. They have these new studies going on, and so they're going to be able to do PR about this study, and they already have an increase in revenues, so they're getting some money back. So it'll be interesting to watch. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it, and hopefully that wasn't too boring for you guys. But that's all I got. Have a good one.